Travelin Young, we're going to the Medieval Center by Nykøbing Falster.
We're the Youngs.
We've spent our lives traveling the world.
And in 2018, we moved from
Chicago, Illinois to
Copenhagen, Denmark.
Now we want to share with you
how our new lives abroad
Is keeping us young.
keeping us young.
are helping to keep us young. Hello and welcome back to Travelin Young. So we are not at home right now. This is not our home. By the time you see this, we won't really be where we are right now. But we've been trying to, travel around and get new videos together, and we were recently in Omu, so
Yes.
that's you're gonna have to look out for that.
Yeah, at some point you'll find out where we are now and
Where
where we're going.
Exactly. But right now we're gonna talk about the video where we went to the Medieval Center,
Yes, the Middelaldercentret.
and that was down in Lolland.
Yes, it is down in Lolland. It was about an hour and a half drive from where we are in Lyngby, so not too far. And we were there for like the whole day, and it's a perfect day trip. So yeah.
Yeah, and they were super nice. They welcomed us to come down and walk around, see the center. And one of the first things that we got to do was walk around and interact with some of the living historians there who tell you all about how they did things back in the Middle Ages.
Yeah, so we're gonna start with learning a little bit about the lathe,
Yes.
which was really, they were just super interesting and engaging.
I thought you would never
Yeah.
think a lathe was interesting. I thought it was really interesting how he worked, and
I didn't
he
even know what a lathe
demonstrating
was.
it.
So.
Yeah.
And then it felt like we were in an old Yankee workshop, which is an old U.S. where he uses these kind of like handmade tools to make things.
Definitely.
And then we learned a little bit about dyes and stuff for some of the clothes, which was also very
so
interesting.
interesting. And she was explaining how you make all the different dyes from different vegetation and things like that. So it was really interesting.
Yeah, well, let's stop talking about it and let's just go ahead and
Show
show the first part where we interact with the folks in the living history portion of the Medieval Center.
Can you tell me what you're doing?
Well, I'm in the process of roughing out a blank. This is just a chunk of wood apple to be precise, and I'm going to rough it out in sort of a half round shape so I can set it up in my lathe, and then I can turn it, and this is going to become a shallow bolt. Basically, the process starts with a log that gets cut to short sections, and I keep them in water so they don't split and crack by themselves. And this isn't exactly a half, but I take one of these, I flatten one side of it, that's the inside,
Yeah.
and I can scribe a circle on them, or in this case two actually.
Oh, I see that.
So I use my compass for that. And then I've got a line. I've got my center, and I've got a line to aim at with the axe.
where to go.
So I shouldn't go over that when chopping it. Then I have this mandrel. This is a wooden cylinder with some spikes on the end, and I can sort of try to center it as good as can and hammer it into the wood. And then I can set it up in this lathe to end up with something that's useful and it looks a bit nicer. So now I just have to sort of go mostly by sound, and because when it's not round yet, you're sort of cutting this sort of semi-invisible surface. So I just lop off the tips of the corners, the worst bits. I'm very confident to say that the bowls I make are
What you would have
they end up very much like they look, and the typical signs for that is that they're not exactly round anymore. And they have a lot of small ridges from and tool marks, and then they often also have these sort of rougher tool marks where you carve the bottom smooth, so you can use them as a bowl.
And how do you get the orange?
Yeah, this is madder root.
Okay.
I have it in my garden. Yeah, and it's actually a plant from the south, but it can grow here in Denmark.
Yeah.
I have the garden full of it, and actually it's I dig it up every third year, and I take the one that are growing,
Yeah, the
them back,
roots.
and they put it back, and they take the other roots and chop it out and dry it for a year.
Oh, wow.
So,
Goodness.
but it's very strong. It's one of the few colors I dye more time on.
Yeah.
Because you can see, maybe the dark one. Oh, the wind has taken it a little. But dark red and medium red and 4 times I can buy on.
So she was saying that you can only wear blue if you're in a rich home. And what is the reason for that? Is that
It's indigo.
it's a very
because
very
it's indigo.
expensive,
Indigo
yeah.
is so expensive and so seldom. But you can go in blue because we have a dye plant you can grow in Denmark.
Okay.
It's actually from France, but it's called woad.
Okay.
And it has the same dye stuff in the plant, but it cannot get dark blue as your trousers.
Okay.
Medium
It's kind
blue
of a
as
light blue.
yeah.
But
I have the plant in my garden, and I grow some more because I need the seeds, and then I can make a whole field of it, and then make more. But actually, this a dye plant. The blue is more common for more common people. It's not that expensive.
All right, so that reminded me a lot of like places like Williamsburg and stuff in the U.S. where you get to interact with people in period costumes, and it's so neat that they're all mostly volunteers. They're just so excited about history.
Yeah, and I feel like you always learn something. you know?
Like I remember telling them that it reminded me of this place down in Illinois where they recreate like a pilgrim village sort of thing.
pioneer village.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
super cool.
Yeah, that was really, really neat. And you'll see some of those faces pop up again now because the person who was teaching us about the lathe is also the master of the trebuchet.
Yes.
Which is in this kind of next section of the medieval center that we visited, which was kind of these interactive ways of dealing with weapons.
Yes. I did some archery. I love archery. We went to a Viking festival like a year ago, and I did some archery, and it was so much fun.
And you're really good at it.
I don't know if I'd say I'm really good at it, but I'm pretty good at it. So I was very excited to do it again, and it was super fun. The guy was very helpful, taught me how to do it because it had been a while.
Yeah.
And you won't notice this part because I didn't record it, but he said, "Can you do this in Danish?" She said yes, and he explained everything to Maya in Danish. So you don't get wasn't on video, but just for you to know, all Maya's instruction was done in Danish. So let's go ahead and show Maya with the archery.
Yes. I am here doing some archery. I did some archery before at another Times festival. It was a Viking festival, and that was super fun. And I used to do some archery back in the US, so I'm very excited to do it again here.
Go for it.
Okay.
So you're taking the arrow.
Yeah. Oop. Okay. Oops.
I couldn't see. Did you miss? What?
I totally missed. I hit the curtain.
I mean, it is just hot here. I'm sorry.
It's so hot.
It's like a sweat box in Denmark at the moment. Boy. But, it wasn't as hot as Maya's archery skills. I mean, she's basically Hunger Games over here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's
a little
really good.
tribute. Or whatever. I don't know. I didn't watch that, so that's as close as I get. The other thing that's really neat, and you guys are going to probably talk about this endlessly, is they have this whole joust thing, and we got to
that was so
we got to see the horses while they were getting them ready, and then the joust, and I mean that's that's right up your alley.
Yeah, because there's this place in America called Medieval Times, and it's like the cheesiest place ever. Because it's basically like you just sit down and have dinner or whatever, and it's like some weird dinner.
And you see a joust.
Yeah, you see all these competitions. There's a whole story with it.
Yeah.
But it's mostly just like jousting and little competitions.
Yeah, but it was cool because they did the whole like with their jousting poles. They went and got the rings on the ends of the poles.
Yeah,
and
so
they
this
like
really
knocked
reminded
things
us of that
off,
back in
and
the US.
yeah, so it was like all the things that I missed about medieval times. We finally found at the Middle Arts Center. So when we need to get that fixed,
jousting.
we can go back.
Yeah, and then like one side was cheering for one night.
Yeah,
one was
exactly.
which is just like the medieval
just like
times.
medieval
Medieval
times.
times is
Yeah.
like 6.
Yeah.
And
You're from different like regions of this made up land. But
Yeah.
we can do a whole nother video about medieval times. But yeah, this jousting thing was so cool.
It was
That was
fun.
a lot of fun. But after that, we then got to see Miranda use the trebuchet. So let's just cut to that right now because that whole story is pretty cool.
Yes.
The main driving force for the trebuchet is the big wooden box down there, which is filled with rocks and stones. And it's on the short end of this huge lever, basically. Now it's pointing upwards, and this box we have is half full with stones, so we don't shoot too far and don't wear out the machine too fast. And when we draw it down really, really slowly, which you would do with those 2 large wheels with 2 people in each wheel, winding down this large rope. Eventually, the top of the arm, maybe you can see there's an iron ring attached to that. That will come down in here, and we can catch it with this hook, which is connected to a trigger rope. So then, if you get the main rope back into the trebuchet and hoist it up into the works again, so it can move freely. Then, as soon as you pull this trigger, the ring will come free, and it will force the long end of the arm up, and attached to that you can maybe make out there's a long rope with a sort of a net in the middle of that, and that's basically the same principle as a hand sling. So one end is attached to the end of the arm and the other one has a little loop on it that goes over the end of a hook on the arm. So as soon as it reaches its apex, the loop will slip off the hook and it will open the sling and the projectile will fly out. So that's sort of it.
Okay, that is the trebuchet that Miranda got that. Oh, it wasn't like this. It wasn't like a.
No,
it wasn't like it was more
this.
like that.
It was so much fun to get to pull that rope and have the whole thing like and throw the cannonball out into the water.
Yeah, that, and it was. I mean, it's pretty loud and it's pretty.
Oh, it is. It's like intense, and apparently sometimes I think on Sankhans they do the like fire cannonballs out into the lake to set the thing off.
And they said that they go back and actually retrieve them.
Yeah, they do.
And
they
use
showed
them
us all
again.
the used cannonballs.
You can tell the difference between the used one and the cement balls.
Yeah.
And so we saw the big one. There's actually a smaller one that had a little bit of
a technical
issue, and it's no longer operational.
It's retired.
So they're working on kind of picking up what the issues were, fixing it, possibly figuring out what to do.
Yeah.
They may build another one just as big as the one that's there. They don't know yet.
They were telling us that that one lasted like 32 years or something.
Yeah.
So they were like, well, I guess we know that they last 32 years.
Yeah.
I'm on team build it bigger.
Yeah.
I think they should build a big one, another big one.
But it is a treat to see.
Yeah,
it is
really
definitely. And they do it every day. So.
Every day, but once a day. So you need to make sure you get there to see that. It's quite pretty impressive.
Yes.
But then from there, we actually went on, and I am not participating in this portion. I'm the camera guy. But Maya and Miranda learned a ton about sword fighting.
Yes, it was super cool.
I lived out my, Lord of the Rings live action role playing dreams, and we got to learn about sword fighting, but real sword fighting, not like action movie sword fighting, like the real thing.
Yeah. And the worker there who helped us was super nice, and he was like a sword master. And so I was, when I did it, I was just kind of a model, and I would just stand there, and he would just be like, okay, just stand like this. I'd be like, okay. And he would just show me how they would do it the moves that they would do. Yeah,
and I thought it was really interesting because a lot of it wasn't necessarily about these big, like, dramatic sword fighting things. It was a lot about little, small moves that you could do to basically make it so that your opponent either lost their grip or couldn't hit you, and then you could come in another way and get them.
Yeah, he was saying that I didn't even think about it, but sword fighting is like martial arts.
Yeah,
Which I didn't
very
even think
much.
about it as martial arts.
Yeah.
But,
All the strategy behind basically, trying to do things that forces your opponent into a mistake or to be tired or to be doing all the movements.
Yeah,
And
it's
you're
a
just
lot.
kind of subtly doing things. And it's very strategic, and your mind must be like calculating constantly in that just few minutes or seconds what to do in order to, and basically you said back then you needed to avoid even being cut.
Yeah,
Because if you
because
get
of
cut,
infection.
you could get infection
this is
and
back then they were like
not last
chop
very
your arm
long.
off.
Back in because this takes place in like the medieval
Ages,
center is around early 1400s.
Yeah.
So they're all kind of in that period, and at that time,
not
obviously
it was
medicine
super-
doctors aren't like today. So
not super great.
if you get cut, it could be a pretty fast journey into the ground.
Yeah.
And so you didn't even want that to happen.
No.
So I didn't do any of that, but I did do a little bit. Oh, by the way, Brisket's here.
He was also there, yeah.
No, he wasn't there.
No,
Oh,
he
wasn't?
wasn't. We
No,
left him
he's
at
here right now.
Yes, he is here.
But he wasn't with us in Lolland.
He's upset that he
It's a bit warm in Denmark at the moment,
It
so
is. He's
I
a little
thought
hot.
he seemed a little bummed on the ground, so I picked him
Yeah.
up for this. But I didn't do that, but I did spin the sword around a little bit.
And you were very good at
did.
that.
Yeah, I have this, like, I've got some good hand-eye coordination. Like, the rest of my body is not agile and fast. So I would have to be the guy that takes the person out in about a second, or I'd be goner. But, I just have... I've never done this for you guys, I don't think, but...
No.
So this is maybe today's Friday fact. We could say it's Saturday, Friday. But I actually learned to juggle once. I, had a whole weekend...
Did
I
you
got
really?
a thing of tennis balls and just learned how to juggle 3 things. I can't do more than 3, but there was
I
like
need to see
Yeah.
this
13
now.
or
You've
14
never
years
done
old.
This,
This
for
might need to be a try
yeah.
out.
And so I was kind of like juggling a single sword out there. We've got footage of that while I was just
Yeah,
Miranda's
he was just like, I was like, look
secretly
at you.
threw
What
the
is this?
camera on.
Yeah. Well,
It's
there you go.
Because
we need
of
to see it.
His secret juggling skills,
Yeah.
apparently.
I can't do bowling pins or flaming things.
No,
it was just
flaming sticks,
3
you can't
tennis
do that?
balls. That was it.
No chainsaws.
No chainsaw.
No.
Well, no, that I did focus on chainsaws and ice picks and kitchen knives.
Yeah,
actually.
perfect.
Yeah.
Well, samurai swords.
Yeah.
That's not true. None of that is true, except the tennis ball one. That's true. So we
We'll
had
need
just
to see that.
we had a really fun day. We were there the entire day basically when they opened to almost when they closed, and we got to interact with so many people.
Yeah, it was so nice.
It was so much fun. And I'm like a giant nerd, so I'm asking all kinds of questions all the time, and they had answers for everything. So kudos to them. They really knew their stuff.
Yeah, and they have so many volunteers that, I mean, we only went the one time. My guess is you could go another day,
And get a completely
have a different set of
experience.
volunteers, and talk to different people that have different kind of skills and expertise in different things that, I mean, I had a great time, and we had, as you could see, beautiful weather that day.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Gorgeous
I mean,
weather.
it was the perfect day. So I would highly recommend going. And then afterwards, what we did, because in our Lungbu video, I had some beer at the Open Air Museum.
Yeah.
That's actually from a brewery right there, really close to the Medieval Center. So we went.
Very good beer.
We did.
Yeah, Maya didn't have any.
I did not have
No,
any beer. I'm
she
not a
didn't.
beer fan.
Yeah.
Hate to
But
break
they
it
have
to
really
the
good
dames,
beer,
but-
and I think we had the same beer that we had at the.
I don't remember because we
Museum.
also brought some home with us.
Yeah, we did. We did.
And I don't remember what I brought and what I drank there.
We got a really awesome mug.
And we got a nice
too.
mug.
We did.
Yeah, so we're going to actually go to that. So we kind of said goodbye from there. And by we, I mean Miranda.
Yeah.
So Maya and I are going to say goodbye right now, and
Yes.
Brisket will say goodbye. And then let's clip to go quickly to Miranda at the brewery as we wrapped up
Yes.
our day down in Lolland.
Yeah. Bye.
We are finishing up our day at the Medieval Center with a trip to Krenkelup Brewery here in Nykøbing Falster. We had this beer actually at the Friedland Museum there in Lungbu, and thought we'd stop in and finish our day. So thanks for watching. We always love having you guys. We hope you really enjoyed this episode, and skål!